For whatever reason, lately, more and more, I find myself getting feedback from different people, and well, most of it is pretty encouraging and rather positive. I will say that I do notice when more people are asking me questions along the lines of, why do you use, the types of music that you do? Why do you use the types of imagery? And why are you showing, people who are obviously, defending and promoting these types of mystical Luciferian, ideologies like Jason Silva or whatever. There's even some people that go so far as to say that I'm secretly promoting these things or trying to glamorize and glorify these things by showing, um, footage with various symbolism and imagery and, psychedelic nebula space footage or, whatever. And, that does get a little frustrating sometimes. I mean, obviously you're never gonna please everyone, and there's always gonna be somebody who thinks you're doing it wrong. I get that, but there are some people that are asking genuinely and are, I think, sometimes confused by it, and I think on certain levels it's an honest question. Where is that line? And I do wrestle with that. But I don't know, I guess this is just kind of where I'm at right now with the level of things that I'm exploring. And when it comes to cosmology and the flat earth, I mean, there's scores of people out there who are, continuing on with all those same arguments about curvature and globe heads versus flat heads and all this stuff. And honestly, in a lot of ways, I'm pretty weary of all of that, I guess. And I do get weary of arguing with Christian creationists who scoff at the idea that they could have been fooled by Copernican astronomy, or that it could be just as fake as Darwinian evolution and all these things. It gets tedious. It gets, after a while, you can only have the same debates with different people so many times. You can only field the same knee-jerk reaction questions. But at the same time, and this isn't really something new. I've been looking at the spiritual side, the interdimensional side of things all along. Since the beginning, really, since I first started getting into the flat Earth. But the more you do, and the more you see how there's, you can't take apart the globe and take apart Copernican cosmology without that filtering down into physics and quantum physics, astrophysics, so all of that stuff. And once you start taking apart physics, you're right back into the metaphysics. You're right back you're right back there anyways. And it just continually brings me back here. And and in a lot of ways, I don't know how to continue to point out these things. I don't know how to continue to point out these connections other than to just show the connections. Like Jason Silva. Listen to what he says here. He's sitting here, he's buddy with Neil deGrasse Tyson. And I mean, Jason Silva is a shoulder-tapped dude. He is sort of one of these up-and-coming prophets of scientism. He's got corporate sponsors like up the wazoo, right? He is establishment all the way. And he's straight up preaching, New Age mysticism, and not in a concealed way. I mean, you've got a guy here's kind of like linking arm in arm with like Terence McKenna on the one hand, and then Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson and Michio Kaku and all these guys on the other side. He ties it all together. So yeah, when I'm playing 15 minutes of footage of Jason Silva going on some manic rant, that's just to show, like, speaking of Terence McKenna, I mean, just listen to this little... Just listen to this thing. Okay, this might disturb some of you. This might seem weird. This might seem like something that you don't think I should be playing, but just listen to this. It's a minute long.
Psychedelic drugs are as important to the study of UFOs as the telescope was to the redefining of astronomy. You can meet the alien. You can meet the alien tomorrow night if your connections are good enough. And you can meet the alien over and over and over again. You said this was what you wanted. Baby, It's on its way. It's being served. This is the portal. The secret is out. It isn't going to be a top-down revelation. It isn't going to come on McNeil Lehrer or the cover of Time. There will not be an announcement from the White House press office. Anybody who has that vision of how it works has completely given away their own power. You are not to be a consumer of the UFO. It is not for your amusement. It is for your transformation. And you can play the game of waiting with the uninitiated, or you can simply go look at the end of the movie. Shamans have been doing this for at least probably 100,000 years. And it's a process of opening to an experience, not an ideology. It's not an ideology. It's an experience.
I guess the thing is that this kind of pushback that I get from so many people who are like, well, why are you using these kinds of imagery? Why do you even, it seems like even your voice, you're trying to use a hypnotic, I don't know. I'm just trying to use, a lot of times I'm just trying to use music that sort of fits with the subject matter that I'm talking about. And what I'm talking about is you're talking about the occult, you're talking about occult technology, you're talking about altered states of consciousness, both in the traditional shamanic hallucinogenic sense and the occult sense, but also in the new digital sense. This new, I really do think we're reaching a point where digital technology, if you want to talk about what Hollywood has been forecasting and portraying, it's not just aliens, it's aliens that you can meet in a dimensional sense, just like the Matrix, just like Terrence McKenna says, or you can meet him tomorrow if you just take some DMT. It's like I'm constantly trying to figure out new ways to articulate the connections that I see, and sometimes I don't know how else to do it except to show it. Look at how all the pieces come together, and some people get it and some people don't. And a lot of times it's the people that have come out of the New Age and come out of the occult and found God that usually are a lot of times the most supportive. They realize that I'm not endorsing these things or trying to glorify these things. But, you get a lot of Christian people who, they just literally will accuse me of promoting Luciferianism and thinking that it's all some, like I'm just another psyop. It's absurd, but it does frustrate me. If I'm not preaching Jesus, if I'm not preaching the Bible, then why do I seem to be, where it's like every day I'm making some New Ager mad? I'm offending somebody who, believes in cosmic unity, believes in oneness, believes in monism, and is accusing me of being some dogmatic, fundamentalist Bible thumper. I have those interactions all the time. And hopefully it's because, I'm pointing to something that they don't want to admit. There's lots of flat earthers that want to reject the globe and reject scientism and reject so many things in the system, but then they turn around and they embrace the same spiritual message, the same mysticism, the same occultism that the elites believe in, but they want to believe that they're different, that they're embracing something that is anti-establishment. They're not being deceived by demons, right? They know the difference between demons and benevolent entities. This is what everyone who's been deceived by the New Age believes. This lie believes that, well, those people are in the dark arts, we're about love and light. The Bible is a lie because it basically says that all the stuff is demonic. Well, and I've experienced it, and I know that there might be demons out there, but there's good beings, there's angels, there's light workers, there's ascended masters, there's the helpers, whatever you want to call them, the good aliens. The reason I'm continuing to talk about this is because this is to me, this is the threat. This is the real threat. It's not Dawkins-esque atheism. It's not secularism. It's not Darwinian evolution in the end, because all those things are vacuous. They're philosophically and existentially vacuous. They do not satisfy the soul, and they eventually leave the person into seeking something beyond, seeking meaning, seeking spirituality. We are spiritual beings, and eventually, so many people, in some way or another, more. This is the direction our country is going. This is the direction the world is going. Is Eastern mysticism, but rebranded as 1,000 different things, and it all is inseparable from technology now. You can think of it all in scientific or technological terms. It makes no difference in the end. It's the same worldview. It's the same mysticism. It's the same everything. And we see this in the movies. We see this on TV. We see this everywhere in the media. It's all pointing to the same thing. It's all part of the same system. It's all the same message. It's all the same. And I'm going to keep preaching this and keep, reaching as many people as I can. So if you think I'm glorifying it, then I don't know what to tell you. Because in the end, all I'm trying to do is glorify Jesus and reveal the lies for what they are.